Okay, so I want to show you how to make up to 1K per day by sharing other people's content. And if you stay to the end, you just want to stay to the end because it's all good. I'm not going to promise you some cheesy bonus. It's all good stuff. Now, there are a lot of different models you can do when building out a solopreneur type business. One of them is what I call the hosting model. It's where it's not necessarily all your content. So you might be a fitness professional and really good at exercise and fitness and kettlebells, and that's your thing, that's your wheelhouse. But your audience and your tribe wants to learn some nutrition. And maybe you have some knowledge, but you're not an expert in it. So you bring in an expert to fill in the gaps, right? It could sometimes be an entire product or program, or sometimes it can be part of a product or program. So you might have a complete get your body back health and wellness program, and there's one class of it that's nutrition with that expert. Or as you're building an audience, you say to that nutrition expert, let's do an entire nutrition program together. I'll host it. We'll sell it to my audience. And we do a rev share, right? We share the revenue, we share the profits. So I've done both of those. I've done both of those in health and fitness. I've done them with my own products now, teaching entrepreneurship, and they could work really well. So here's what I've done. I did a little bit of a twist on it. So let me show you some examples of these kind of co-hosted sessions within courses. So let me share this page. And this is within one of my programs. So I did a program called the Continuity Income Traffic Master Shop, and we talked all about recurring revenue. And this was a special co-hosted session. This one was 2.5 hours. We went through how to get traffic from scratch on social media. Just here are the 10 posts to do, even if you don't have any engagement now, to get the ball rolling. So I recorded that whole session with another expert as part of this one class. That class was, I think, a $300 to $500 training program, a whole system. And this was one class. Okay. So what I did was I extracted that class and I extracted other classes. So here was one with a longtime friend. He used to help, used to do my media buying, part of my old school training, where he showed a case study with a client he worked with. They brought in 18,000 customers through a paid challenge, not a free challenge, a paid challenge. And he showed, here are the Facebook ads I ran. Here's how we scaled it. Here was the ad that worked. And it was amazing. And it was 1 hour and 20 minutes. Again, part of another program. By the way, if you're interested in seeing this, just write down POP below POP. I'll send you a link for this cool stuff if you want to learn more. Okay, back to the show. So what I did was I took those two and 8 more of the best hosted training. Remember, I am just the host. I am sharing other people's content, ideas, knowledge, right? It's some people talk about curation and summarization, and that stuff is good, and it's good for front end traffic. However, you have to be really careful with taking other people's content and start charging for it. The minute you do, there are potential copyright issues. I know people talking about doing paid curated newsletters. You have to be really careful because once you start charging for it, there are copyright issues that come up. But with this model that I'm doing, with this one right here, I'm interviewing them or they're doing a training. So they're giving consent and we're recording, and it's specifically for my audience. It's exclusive for them. So I took all of these. I went through about 600 hours of training that I've done over the past probably 24 months and extracted the 10 best, by far the best, traffic only sessions, right? So all I did was look at the ones that got the most traffic, whether it was how to be your own media buyer and set up traffic from scratch, or how to do it for free, or how to do it on YouTube, or how to grow your Instagram. The best of the best from all of these different products and programs, other people's content, and put it into one package, one place where they get it all. And this is kind of like this could be your best of, your greatest hits. But again, they're other people's content. You're sharing other people's IP and their ideas. This isn't necessarily something you have to come up with. And you could see here, I put it all under a name called pop-up traffic. So this is something you can model in your niche, in your industry, especially as you start creating products and programs. But even if you don't have products and programs, going to other people who have, as Liam Neeson said, a very specific set of skills and saying, I have this growing audience. Can I interview you? Now, a few things to be aware of. If you are doing if the entire interview series and it's a multiple interviews and it's like 6 hours and you're charging just for that, then there's going to be some type of revenue share you have to do, right? I've done this with a few products. I did this with My Peeps with Travis Spiegel, where it was a complete list building course. It was all of his information. All I did was host it and share it with my audience. And then we did a rev share. I did another one with one of my students called Free Play. I did another one with Scott Volker called Afterburner, all about YouTube, where he brought the information and they brought the information. I built the sales page, just like I'm showing you right here, and then sold it. And they just created the information. They created the content. So if you're doing that, if the other person is all their information and all their content, you're going to have to share revenue. If you're doing a course with multiple things that you're creating, right? So let's say it's 6 modules, right? Or 6 classes. And one of them is a case study with an expert, and one of them is an interview with someone else. You don't necessarily have to share revenue. Obviously, you have to work it out with them, but most people are okay just doing an interview, knowing it's part of a paid program, knowing that it's going to get in front of more qualified people. But you have to ask questions and they're going to ask questions and you have to be honest with them. Like if you don't have an audience, if you have zero, then they're not going to want to spend 6 hours doing interviews and building out content. But as long as you're being transparent and saying, this is what I have, this is what I anticipate, most people will gladly jump in. So this is how I build it. You take it and then you can kind of sell your own products or programs, or as I'm showing here, package it up into something new and themed if there's enough information around one very specific topic. So mine is teaching one-person business, entrepreneurship, 40 and over, but I took what people want and I polled my audience, what is it you want the most? And 85 to 87% said traffic, traffic, traffic. That's why I put it together. And some of the more valuable ones are considered my bonuses, right? These are things that were other interviews or trainings that I think had a little bit more value. So I put those in as bonuses. So there you go. That is how to legally, ethically, quote unquote, steal other people's content and generate some income and sell it and do it honest and above the board and do it with ethics and everyone's happy. And by the way, if you're interested in getting more traffic, if you're interested in this particular page, pop-up traffic, just write POP, right? POP below, and I'll send you a link to this so you can check it out and model it yourself. And you might want to grab it and get more traffic. And speaking of traffic and speaking of revenue, check out this next video. We got so much more coming your way. Let's go. I'll see you soon.